I stopped coding. Yes, it's true. And if you're like me and love shipping code, it probably sounds crazy to do this, but the best way to actually build a software platform that people use is to stop shipping. That doesn't really make sense, does it? But I'm gonna explain to you why it does. This one stings. If you're a dev, right? I built a big business before, had a lot of customers, and shipping features that no one uses really, really hurts. I've built many a big feature and literally chucked them directly in the bin. We used to have a joke saying, you can just bury me with all my code, print it out, put it on top of me, and you can bury me with it. Now, it's not so fun building features that aren't seen because they obviously can't be used. Now, you're working hard with the team to ship and polish features every single day, arguing about what's the next big thing you should be working on, grinding to hit those self-imposed deadlines. I love that. I love thinking about deadlines like that. They only exist because we put them there, right? But that's another story. But once the feature is done and shipped, crickets, right? No one's using it because you don't actually have any users to try them out. And then what do you tell? What's the lie you tell yourself? Well, if I add the next one, then they'll come. And if I do the next one, maybe then they'll come. Guess what? It doesn't work like that. They don't actually come. I could tell you this from experience. And we get it because we are there. We are here. We're there everywhere. I love shipping, so don't get me wrong. But there is a time and there is a way to get out of this hole, right? We just need to change our focus and identify the biggest constraint because we are building a business. I think that's what a lot of engineers don't understand sometimes is that we are building a business. We're not just building an app. So what is the one thing that if you perfected it would actually change the game for your business, right? For your app. So we need to get alignment on that, right? We need to all go all in to fix that and find it. Now, what are we going to cover? So I'm going to talk about actually how do you find that constraint? And it's pretty obvious what that's going to be. I'm pretty sure you're already guessing that. Creating the strategy, focusing on the implementation, and having patience to actually see it through. This is the hardest part of this thing. And realistically, you can't have more than one priority. It's just not actually possible. I think even the word, I don't know the definition of the word, but I know that it basically means the one thing. So you can't have more than the one thing. All right. So how do we find the core problem? What is the one thing? Now, if you're a software engineer and you follow my channel and you watch these videos, you write code, right? So what is the thing? Let's be honest. There are hundreds of problems with the app you're building, but sometimes you've just got to let the fires burn. I think this is one of the biggest learnings I got from my last business, right? We used to have things where people just run in the room and just tell us about the next fire and just everyone has to drop the tools and try and do it. It's not the way to run your business. You can let fires burn. Sometimes they just go out. So we can focus on the big fire. And I love what Steve Jobs says, which we'll get to in a second. You're going to be surprised. If you focus on one thing, it may even solve the problems of the other things. That happens. It really does. So Steve Jobs was famously obsessive about focus, as we all know, and not just in the sense of working hard, but actually in the ruthless discipline of saying no to almost everything so that the team could pour energy into the one or two things that mattered most. He used to have literally tell people to bring in their no's and they'd have to have them ready and they have to be juicy. Can't be things you'd say no to anyway. It'd have to be he was a bit ruthless, to be honest. I think sometimes it'd have to be saying no to going to your family's birthdays and stuff like that. The man wanted to achieve greatness and sometimes you got to pick your path. Anyway, this was a great quote from him. It's deciding what not to do is as important as deciding what to do. So we need to identify the core problem with the business, okay? And humans also struggle with doing multiple things at once. If you can focus on one area at a time, you can be far more successful in achieving your goals and solving the problem for good. We can just go one thing at a time, right? So we've built the app. That's great. We got it. We got a proof of concept. Sick. Now we've got to find what's the biggest problem from actually making money. How do we grow this thing? So we refer to this as the team's one demon to tame. So take that as you will. And the core problem, right? So this is the core problem for our business and it'll be different for everyone. But realistically, if you're writing software, this is probably going to be your problem as well. And we know that epic businesses have a few key pieces, right? So every great software business has a few key pieces that allow them to scale and keep delivering great products. Marketing, sales, product, ops, operations, HR. There's a few things here that you need to nail, HR being talent recruitment and all that. And they all come at different stages. So you are going to face all these problems and you're always going to be a different constraint. But for us, at this stage, it's marketing, right? We have a good product. We know that. We use it. We dog food it. We know it's great. We also know that there are a lot of problems with it. And there are a lot of cool things we want to ship. But we know that fixing marketing will allow us to grow. And that's what's important. So we've been building Clipflow for over a year already. I personally started in May of 2024 and have been building, and we're up to version 3 now. So we did V1, which is basically a our product, a V2 which we could ship to the public, and a V3 which took the public's feedback and then refined the product to what it is today in the V3. And we have a mountain. And I do mean a mountain of ideas to implement. There are so many cool things we want. We know that if we had this feature, then we could sell better. That's the lie you tell yourself. That's the lie you tell yourself. You don't actually know. And I love this quote. It was from Caleb Ralston talking about brand and talking about quality. And he actually said, no one knows what quality looks like except your audience. So you can think what looks like quality. And he's referring to content. It's the same thing in business. We can think we know what quality looks like, but our audience or our customers will determine that. Whatever hits with them is what we should be building. And without them, how do we know we're building the right thing? We're just building things, which keeps us busy, makes us feel like we're productive that day and, kept the ball moving forward. But at some point, you need to pull up your big boy pants and start marketing to the masses. This is the thing that us as software engineers struggle with. One, maybe you're introverted and don't like to be in front of the masses. It's something we're not good at. Let's be honest. It's not a superpower of mine. It's something I'm learning, so it's uncomfortable. I know how to ship stuff. I can fix it. I can come up with a feature in a head and have it into you in a day. But I can't implement a marketing strategy just yet. I'm learning. So this is where it gets challenging. We kind of tend to veer away from things that are hard. That's human nature. So you've probably seen how very average products, no offense to the people making average products, but for our standards, possibly, can make a lot of money due to the founder having a large audience. And what does having a large audience mean? It means having a great marketing presence, right? We've seen this, and I know that I've seen everyone, and all of you guys complain about this, and I complain about it too. I'm like, that's not even a good product, and look how much money they're making from it, right? My product's way better. Yeah, but you don't have the marketing engine that you need. So this is what we're focusing on. And I believe that most likely for most people, especially if you're starting out and you're kind of in that first 0 to 10 million phase, you just need to sell more. No one knows you exist. Hormozy says it the best. And he literally is like, he's got a massive following, massive audience. He walks down Vegas. Says he gets stopped about 6 times if he walks in an hour. He asks people about certain things like, did you see coming to my book launch? And people go, you're having a book launch? They already know him, but they don't know about his book launch. And he's been advertising like crazy. Now, if he's doing that, what does it mean for us? We think, no one cares about a product. Yeah, but haven't shown it to anyone. So that's the key constraint. That's the key constraint for Clipflow right now, and probably the key constraint for you. So what did we do? We got the whole squad on board. This is the first time I've really done this in my career, but I literally just went in and said, all in, going company all in. So how do we solve it, right? So the first thing we need to do is we have to come up with a clear and achievable plan. What does it actually look like to achieve this? It's nice to say we need to market more, but how do we get the steps in there? The most efficient method for improving any skill is putting in the reps. That's why you're a good software engineer. That's why you keep writing codes, because you do it every single day. But we need to keep practicing the same thing over and over again so it becomes so easy to deliver that the desired result is boring. So when we can effectively pull customers in so easily that doesn't even take time or really us to think and it's boring, we've mastered the skill. I'm not there. I'm definitely not there, but I'm getting better. And that's the key thing. We need to focus on it. And after identifying that marketing was going to be our one thing, we started building out the plan. So we made a massive call. It was a very big call. And the call was every single person on the team had to drop what they were doing basically and focus on marketing, regardless of position. So this is software engineers stopping what they're doing. This is our designers stopping what they're doing. This is our content team focusing on this type of marketing, right? We decided we want the entire team to do this for 3 months, every single day. 3 months. It's a long time. So, whole squad, same goal, all hands on deck. So we took the whole team, everyone said, yes. Now, what have the results been? So they actually, speaking for themselves, it's amazing what happens when you just focus on that one thing, right? So within 1 month, so we're about, let's call it a month and a half in now, we can already see measurable progress towards our goals. Right. So we're finally able to focus on all the marketing things that we always say we would do later. This happens all the time. I will improve the landing page later. We'll do those ads later. We'll do that onboarding form later. It can all happen. But what actually happened, we got them done. So we built landing pages. We did make some exceptions for the IDE rule, but sometimes you do need to write a little bit of code to market. We set up analytics funnels. So what does that do? It helps with data to make the right decisions when we're marketing. We also deployed a heap of paid ads, taking the time to actually sit down and spend the time coming up with ads is super useful. And we also created a bunch of organic content. So we're creating a whole heap of content that allows us to actually keep evergreen content out there, talking to our core audience and keeping that marketing engine running. So super cool, super powerful. And something that I really got out of this is I usually just think about code and features and figuring out how they will happen in my head. But by shifting the focus for 3 months to marketing, my brain was able to swap over to thinking about how to market, like watching videos on how to get people with hooks in content, figuring out what good ads look like, consuming content on how to write good Facebook ads, meta ads, and like actually getting the conversion, working on improving and iterating so that we could actually set up a marketing engine that will be able to become the foundation for everything we do in the future, right? So we spent the year doing the code. Now we're spending 3 months on fixing marketing. And guess what? We can cycle back. We're obviously going to keep building product. When you focus on the one thing, it's amazing the results you actually get out of it. And I know a lot of people just don't want to do this, and it's so uncomfortable. And I'm not built to do it, but by doing it, you actually get better. Who would have thought? So what are we doing? We're keeping the momentum. We're keep pushing forward, right? We're embedding these skills into the team. So we're amazed at the results, like I said, by simply focusing on one problem and doubling down. By focusing on marketing, we're not only able to set up the solid foundation that we can leverage moving forward, but we've also trained the team to think in a specific way. So it's like thinking of how does what you're doing now affect the marketing or the user to come bring them in? How do we think about that, right? In product as well, as content, as everything. So just focus and aligns the whole team. And by investing the time to focus on our marketing, we've also been able to get a very clear picture of our core customer, which will help shape the features we build once the cycle is complete. This is actually, to be honest, one of the most important things for me is being able to know who you're selling to. By focusing on a very specific niche and one type of person, you can get laser focused to solve their problem. Because sometimes we go out real broad and we kind of miss the mark. But by marketing, we're bringing people in. What is marketing also? It's interviewing people. It's talking to people. This is part of your marketing push. We're doing a lot of this, a lot of interviews as part of the thing. It's like, how do we get as many people to talk to so we can actually build the product and figure out who to build for? Once you understand their problems, you can talk to them. So that solves your marketing. You know, like I know it's Ken. This is his problem. He doesn't have time to build his business. So he needs this. So we need to think of things that save him time. You also know it's like, okay, with our product, for instance, we have multiple avatars we can go after. We could go after a creator. We can go after an agency who does lots of content for many people. We can go after business owners. By focusing and figuring out that one customer, we can then build features for them. You're not building sponsorship features for a business because it doesn't relate. And by doing that, it sharpens your focus, which means you can actually build a product that matters, is actually going to win. I think that is the key thing. You want to build a business that wins. We don't want to just be shipping code, right? That's a waste of time. Leave that up to the vibe coders. We're going to build real businesses here with software. And because we can do this, we can focus and build the best product. Okay. So I think that for me is why I can sit here and highly recommend this strategy for your business. And I think you should do it at least once. So for us, we've got about a month and a half left. There's a few other things we just want to finish. We're iterating our ads. Because we've had so much time, we've been able to do it, collect data, do it again. We'll probably get maybe 2 or 3 attempts within this one cycle, which will leave us with a very solid foundation. So that means that next time we want to market, we've got the foundation. We've set up all the things we need and we can just jump in, add new content. So for me, like Facebook ad marketing or meta ads, I should say, that's all set up now. We know how to do it. We know how to execute on it. We can either get our other team to come in because we've documented the processes. So we can just come in maybe once a week or 1 week per month. Instead of 3 months, we just come in every month, show off the new stuff. So we're going to build new stuff, which we're really excited. And then we're going to show that off. And we've created the foundation, so it makes it really easy to do, right? So as we grow, we're going to get marketing done. Marketing is going to work. It's going to start working and it's going to start delivering the results. That means that when we start building the new features, people will actually see them. That's super key. And then when we take those features, we can then now ship them and show them off. And it just becomes a nice cycle. Right? But if you don't do this, you end up in this hell of just constantly making features and getting really sad because no one's looking at your product. Your mum and dad might sign up once, check it out, and then never do. But by getting it out to the masses, you're just going to get better and better. And then guess what? You're going to hit another constraint and you're going to build your product. It's going to get super good. You're going to have your marketing nailed. You're just going to have constant users. Now we're going to have churn. How do we fix churn? How do we fix onboarding? That's going to be the next thing. Right? How do we keep people staying? How do we deliver as much value as possible? Next one's going to be talent acquisition. How do we get more people into the business so that we can actually execute and grow with as fast as we're going? So as you go, these things are going to come in. And that's the great thing about business. There's always another constraint to fix. But I think by spending the time fixing it all in and just getting that going, especially when you're small, you can't do this when you're a 100-person team. It's much harder. When you're small and when you're building, this is super key. So I'm keen to hear your thoughts. Tell me what your biggest constraint is. And if you like this style content, please let me know because I really love love this content because it talks about business, it talks about code, it talks about content, it's all the kind of things that I love to do. So if you're interested in it as well, let's get it. And then until next time, catch you on the next one.